Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. We are the Middle Aged Guys, and we are returning to you again with another edition of What the Fuck Are We Playing This Week? Let's go ahead and tell you who's actually on the screen in front of you. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
Okay, this particular series that we started up pretty much covers, in short form, what we've been playing as far as our most favorite hobby in all the world, video games. Okay, the problem with being a gamer and being middle-aged is that life tends to get in the way, and that if you don't make an actual effort to go out and actually appreciate your most favorite hobby in all the world, sometimes you don't ever actually get around to it because there are certain things like, I don't know, handling life issues and sleep that actually come up, and those are important. All right, but in each and every one of these particular videos, we're going to go ahead and give you a short rundown of what we've been playing for the week. If there's something that we're a longer game that we've been playing throughout the things, we may mention multiple times, but none of this is going to be any sort of formal review or anything else like that. And in regards to that, we're going to try to avoid any sort of spoilers depending on the age of the game. But look, if we're talking about something that's, past 2 generations old or something else like that, it does not make sense for me to sit there and put a spoiler warning tag on anything from the 64-bit era and below. Okay, let me just say that right now. Okay, with that all said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open up. What are we playing this week? I know you guys were saying. I know the team was saying that he only had a couple of games. Grey Mouse, how many games did you have in front of you?
I have about 4.
I've got more than that, so let me go ahead and start. Okay. Let me see here. Just to continue off of last week, continuing through my New Game Plus playthrough of Ys 8, by Kermelson and Dana. All right. I'll make it short and sweet for this particular one. If you haven't had a chance to play it yet, whether or not you played it on the PS4 or the Switch version, which is coming out pretty soon, there's also the Steam version. Go out of your way and play it. Playing through it on New Game Plus is made me, fall in love with the whole reason why New Game Plus even exists. All right. Give me all my levels, give me all my best equipment, and let me stomp these motherfuckers into the ground, all right? Let me do that because I spent 87.93 hours on the first fucking playthrough to go ahead and grind my guys all the way up to the point where they were able to go ahead and do that. So it's just another way to go out of my way and 100% the game without having to sit there and actually stress over the gameplay that much.
Wait a minute,
right?
Reverend. You spent 2 weeks worth of working hours on that game.
Yeah.
80 hours. I just want to reemphasize that. 80 hours. And being a middle-aged guy.
Yeah. I mean, granted,
if games are that good, it will suck you in.
Yeah, granted, a lot of that was done while I was sick for a whole week, where literally I was playing the game to the point, like I said, on video, where I would start playing, and then by the end that I was playing, I was getting warnings from my PS4 telling me to recharge my controller. So I was playing it that many hours straight, all right, for like about 5 to 6 days straight, all right. But the one thing that I have been playing, that I picked up mostly because the Steam version of it is not getting a lot of love is Chrono Trigger. Yeah, for the Super Nintendo. Yeah, I've been playing this on my Super Nintendo. I went ahead and I played through the part until I got up to the point where Marl is she gets sucked into the time vortex. And you start figuring out that if you don't fix things with actually saving her mom, that she's going to disappear completely from existence. This goes without saying. Chrono Trigger is a timeless classic and everything else. Reason why I went and I picked this up and actually jumped back into it is because last week the Steam version went up on sale, and by all accounts, it is a horrible port of the iOS version. All right. In fact, one of the things about it was that the folks that they got to go ahead and port over the Steam version they were so lazy about porting it over that some of the UI assets and stuff like that still refer to iOS commands or functions. So yeah, that's when people really figured out proof positive. They're like, oh yeah, this is. Yeah, I mean, you can't even remap controls on the Steam version. That's how bad the port is.
So is it worse than the Secret of Mana port?
Well, the Secret of Mana remake.
Chrono Trigger from the Steam version of Chrono Trigger crash.
Well, the Steam version of Chrono Trigger is stable. All right, that's the whole thing with that. I think you and I, Grey Mouse, have to get together and try to figure out whether or not we're going to do a full review of the Secret of Mana remake. That's probably something that we're going to have to do in the future, in the near future.
Just play it on damn Super NES classics.
Well, the thing is that
classics.
The thing about it is that we have to. I still have to revisit it after to see what the big patch fixed. So, but that's something we'll come back to in the future. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to start out with for this week, guys. The floor is open. What do you guys got? AB,
play that, man,
dude.
I'm not against it. No, I'm not against that. But what
you talk about something that started up the beat 'em up genre? This is it. If you're gonna get really technical about this, the beat 'em up genre was started basically with kung fu.
Yeah.
Unless there's some type of rebuttal with that.
Man, what?
I think Renegade in the arcades might have preceded it by a year or two.
But I think this came out in '85 in the arcade.
Yeah. I think Renegade might have preceded it by a year or two.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I'd have to look back, but yeah, you know.
But it's pretty simple. Floor to floor, beating up motherfuckers, beating up short people.
You got
based off a game of death.
You got people that run and hug you.
Yeah, they'll run. They won't even attack you. They'll run up and hug you. You had through knives. You had type magic things that came down and that formed snakes and dragons and balls that exploded. And then you had 5 bosses in order to fucking beat in order to get your girl and for her to get kidnapped, and you get started all over again. Grey Mouse, you have the floor.
Man, that one, I think it's stage 3 with the bees, where oh my God. You just want to take out that cartridge and throw it across the room. One of those
I hated
games.
The Hornet stage, yeah.
Frustration. You know how when you die, you go off the board? You feel like you
floor,
yeah.
But okay, you didn't even fall to the ground. They pushed you off of the fucking building. You lost your balance and you fell out of the house.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Classic. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start mine a little different. I've been playing a lot of this. And if you haven't noticed, I do have the Game Boy attachment or Super Game Boy attached to it. So, with that being said, I have been playing Mr. Reverend was talking about it earlier about the Secret of Mana. I've been playing the game that started it all, Final Fantasy Adventure.
Okay.
This is the sequel or the prequel. Prequel.
Seiken Densetsu in Japan.
Yes, and so yeah, I pretty much sat through it and went. Yeah, I'm at the end boss, and it's just lovely. This is what started it all, and I just have a lot of fond memories of this, and the dwarf Watts. You gotta love them. And it's just and then it's like, I think at the ending of this, what was one of those like, wow, you saved the girl, but you didn't save the girl, or save the world. I mean, the girl turns into the tree, and you're like, you're sitting there at the end, you're like, really? And then they start that sad scroll music, and I was like, damn, that was good. You know, yeah. It seems to me like a game like this would be perfect for Game Plus. Give us a Game Plus for this game.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely.
All right, go ahead, Rev.
All right, let's see here. This is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I have been playing this religiously over last week. Also at work, barring the fact that I actually work for these guys, but I'm going to tell you right now, RTSs are probably one of my least favorite genres. Okay, but I have been playing. Well, yeah, I'm not a big time RTS fan. Okay, it's because there's a lot of micromanaging and stuff that's handled back and forth, and that I'm not quite geared toward as far as taking care of. But the cool thing about this is StarCraft 2. All right, I've worked at my job. We work on all of the Blizzard titles that are currently under work and everything, and this is one of the games, just for the sake of being familiar with like projects, especially since we still currently support this game online and everything. It's one of the things that I play on a regular basis. Going through the first set of campaigns and stuff like that, I'm like constantly jumping between what I have in test with the Zerg campaign and what I play regularly on the retail, the Battle.net build, which is the Terran campaign and everything like that. And the one thing I've got to say, without a shadow of a doubt, okay, there is one thing that Blizzard probably does better than any other fucking developer out there, okay? And I'm not saying this just because I work for the guys, all right? Full disclosure, okay? But I'm saying this even better than the folks at Square Enix and freaking Bethesda and all those other folks. But Blizzard really does a great job in world building, all right? And sitting there saying, okay, this is the whole universe. This is how it's set up. This is how it works. These are the rules. And these are how they apply to the player. And when grand things happen, whether or not it's something persistent like World of Warcraft or something else like that, that happens within the game universe itself, when it comes down and trickles down to influencing the player and influencing how the player goes ahead and addresses things, they do a really, really good job. There's a reason why when it comes to a lot of Western developers, they were one of the first ones to have their own convention for things like that. It's because they do a really, really good job as far as building worlds, whether or not it be the world of StarCraft, Warcraft, blending things together with Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, Overwatch, and that other stuff. Diablo. They really do go out of their way and build a whole bunch of that stuff. All right, but yeah, I would before I jump knee deep into like the Zerg campaign, you would have gone out of your way and asked me, all right, what is your least favorite genre of games? Along with team sports, I would sit there and say either first-person shooters and RTSs. And with this, I gotta say, okay, I suck at RTSs. I really, really do. Whenever we do multiplayer tests, like mass multiplayer tests, I am just like the fucking beat up dummy in the corner for a lot of motherfuckers. All right, but playing through this game, at least like I said, I'm able to go ahead and appreciate the single player campaign and the world that Blizzard has put together for it. All right. Otherwise, who's next? Go ahead. From Konami.
Yes. Ultra Games is Konami. Okay.
Yep.
Fond memories with this. Yeah. Fuck Lester. Fuck Lester. But this game. Oh well. Props to Goofy Foot. This game. Oh God, the modes that it has the control was fluid.
Except for the overworld. The overworld control sucked.
Eh,
There wasn't really an overworld on this one.
Well, no, when you're picking
Oh, fuck that. You just went to whatever you needed to do, and then...
No, that's bull. I hated your skating on the when you're trying to pick what you're going to. That shit sucked. It did.
Skate or Die was one of those games that I could just I put in at any time to pass the time. Yeah. And the half pipe, the high jump, downhill, the downhill jam, the joust, that was pretty entertaining as well, especially two players. Two or more players in that game was great.
And I'd have to say that even though there was an arcade version, this is one where the rare occurrences where the 8-bit version on the NES was better than the arcade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that without apologies. So,
Gray Mouse, you have the floor.
All right, so going with the same theme as I was before, I got another Game Boy game, Wario Land.
Woo!
I was playing this.
So wait. Super Mario Land 2 or 3?
No. Wario Land.
I know. Yeah, okay. Wario Land.
Wario Land. Yeah, Wario. Yeah.
Okay.
You had me confused there for a second, man.
No, I actually was wrong on that. But
so yeah, I don't know why I put it in. I just felt like playing it, put it in there, and looked up 3 hours later, like, oh God, I've been playing this for 3 hours. It's one of the, and I mean, it's almost just like Super Mario. I mean, you get the little, what is it? The little vial of whatever to make Wario big, and then he could breathe fire, and yes, I really going back here with this. I mean, 2 Game Boy games in the same week? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I just played 2 Nintendo games.
Yeah.
All right, Rev, you're up.
I've got a pretty big spread. In fact, this one right here is a little bit of a blast from the past. But like I said, when things happening in the lab the way they are, it makes it really accessible for me to play. But on the arcade emulator machine, all right, over there in the lab.
For that, man, come on.
Yes.
On the lab, I have been playing this, like, how last week I was playing, I think it was either KI2 or Night Warriors.
No,
but what I started playing again was Pocket Fighter, okay? This game here, all right, there's a cool thing about late 90s Capcom, early 2000s Capcom, and 2D sprite work that is just that this game really kind of encapsulates in a very in a parody type way, all right, but also in a very charming and very endearing type way. Okay, there are certain things that you can do on this game that just do not occur in any other Capcom fighting games, all right, and they make reference to all of their fighting games that they have. In fact, not only the fighting games, but a lot of the adventure action platforming games that they have. A lot of Mega Man references.
Yes, they did.
As far as it goes. So this game right here, if you have not played it, okay, it does not have the learning curve that a lot of dedicated Street Fighter games have, as far as strict execution and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But to get really, really good at this game, to be able to do some of the crazy shit that you can do in this game, you will spend a lot of time sitting there, mashing on buttons and trying to figure things out with an arcade setup. And it just, what makes it all the greater is the fact that, like I said, I'm playing this at work, in the break room on a full arcade, cabinet setup with a full 2-player cab and everything. So yeah, this is one of the games that I've been playing on a regular basis every break, trying to play through.
You can't beat chibi Street Fighter characters. I mean, come on. Sakura is, oh my God, on that game. That's all I got to say about that.
Yep. Playing either her or Chun-Li on there are like two of the funnest characters.
I've got to pick that game back up again. I got to get that game again, man.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes.
Love it.
All righty. Was there anything else any of you other guys want to go ahead and jump into, or go ahead?
Yeah.
Steve, go ahead and jump into yours.
All right. It's funny how you just brought up the fighting game thing, but
yes, that's one I actually have to pick up still.
now this is basically the same game. It pretty much almost is, but I went to the Dreamcast one. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, I had super duper fun. Now, here's the story about this one. The only way you were going to get it is you had to special order it.
Yeah.
This was not even in Japanese stores.
Mm-mm.
You had to order it online and it had to be sent to you. Now, being on the American base at the time, they wouldn't send it there. But thanks to loyal Japanese friends, I was able to get this. And people, wait a minute, they got Darkstalkers in the Dreamcast? Yep. And then they will try to go out and get it. And I'm like, nope, you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it. Basically, it's Darkstalkers 1, 2, and 3 characters. And it's kind of the way that Hyper Street Fighter 2 was, where you picked a version of Darkstalkers and then you picked a version of the character that you wanted to use.
Yep.
And that matters because the game totally fucking changes. Even super combos and EX moves either appear or disappear.
Yeah.
It is a game. Look, I pick up and play that shit. One of the best games ever for the Dreamcast. One of the best fighting games. One of the best fighting game series. Capcom, Darkstalkers 4. Please. Gray Mouse, go ahead.
Well, the good thing about that is that nowadays you could probably find that in a retro store in Japan, being that if people brought it there, because, I mean, that's an old game. You could only pick it up through order in only.
Mm-hmm.
But now that time's over, if people wanted to trade it in, you could probably get it there.
Actually, for that particular one, that one still commands a pretty hefty price as a used game on eBay.
I imagine it does.
It's a lot easier to find either the Darkstalkers collection that the theme showed up on PSP,
Mm-hmm.
or the Darkstalkers Anthology, which is the PS3 version,
Yeah.
which for no fucking reason at all never showed up in the localized version here in the States. I don't know why, but yeah,
stupid.
All
right,
but
so
yeah.
For my next to last game, I'm sticking with old school, and there's a reason why I did show my Super Famicom. I was playing Final Fight on the Super Famicom.
Oh, cool! Hey,
And yes, I mean there
Really?
is.
Okay. Quick question. Why would you play that version?
I had my Super Famicom out, and I just popped it in. It was one of those.
Okay.
You play it?
That's fair.
yeah, yep.
That's reasonable.
I mean, I have both versions. I have the but no,
I
I had
have all 3 final. Well, I have all 4 Final Fights for the Super Famicom.
yes.
Final Fights 1, Guy, 2, and
Mhm.
Tough, which is part 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just decided to get this one. It was great. I mean, this I think this is the superior version. I mean, it's not as why do you look at me like that?
Are you serious?
Well,
wait.
It's not censored.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, whoa, you guys really put me on.
No, because I just instantly thought about the other versions of the same game.
Well,
Yeah.
I also know that Final Fight, the first Final Fight, whether or not it be for the Super Nintendo or for the Super Famicom,
Mhm.
is severely gimped as far as some of the things that go on with it. But as far as censoring goes, yeah, I know they didn't have to deal with it on that side of the pond.
They did. Yeah, and you know this.
The next time you play that game, where it says press start, hold down the L and R buttons and then press start. I did that by mistake back in the day.
Wow.
And anyway, I was like,
again, what was so cool is the fact that, like, I was over in Japan during the Super Famicom, where I could actually go out and buy it on a shelf. So the one that I have here is actually the one original. You know, I got this when I bought it when I was in Japan, and it was still on the shelf, 1996.
Wow.
So, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Rev. You got more?
Yeah, actually, I have 2 more titles. All right. This is one that actually pops up. It actually shows up on a lot of hidden gems for the PSP lists. And that is Adventures to Go by Natsume.
I still have to get that and play it.
I know you have it available, if not the physical version, the ROM version, because I gave it to you. The thing about Adventures to Go, the cool thing about this is that the PSP, or a lot of the handheld systems, generally speaking, I've said for the past decade that they are home to some of the best JRPGs that are out there, okay? And the thing with Adventures to Go by Natsume, they really went ahead and they were like, all right, people are playing this on their PSP. They literally only have anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes at most to go ahead and do what they want to do. We want to give them the opportunity to go ahead and be able to jump in, do their thing, jump out, and not have to worry about, oh, shit, I'm like, last time I saw a save point was like 45 fucking minutes ago. All right, do I go ahead and go back and backtrack through the dungeon to get to the same point, or do I just go ahead and try to finish up the dungeon? All right. So what they did was that they set this up where everything happens. You have your main character who's one of the adventurers, and everything happens in the hub town. and every time you go ahead and you go into the dungeon, you order up an adventure, and you set up things like, okay, what sort of terrain and environment is going on? Is there what sort of enemies are you seeing? Are there undead? Are they beasts? Are they human enemies and stuff like that? There are other things like depending on what you have, there are certain tickets that you can go ahead and you can use to set up like the type of adventure. Like, is there a certain event ticket or a treasure ticket or a heroine ticket where you meet another character NPC that's going to join up and everything like that. So they really went ahead and centralized everything together, where it was like, all right, if you want to go ahead and you don't want to go through, you're still going to have to grind, all right? But if you want to go ahead and be able to handle the grinding in bite-sized chunks from 5 to 10 minutes, the way that they handled the hub setup for everything on Adventures to Go is exactly good for that. And I found myself going ahead and following onto this after something led me down the path. Okay, I know what was going on. I was talking to my buddies at work, and we're talking about modding the PSP. And I went through and I busted out my PSP 2000. I was jumping through some of the things. And yeah, I started playing this in earnest quite a few years back. But the great thing about it is that the way that it's set up is that you can just jump in, jump out, do a few things, spend anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes with it, and then you can jump out, and then you're done with it, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Next time you jump into it, you can go ahead, if you have access to more terrain, more enemy types, and more event tickets and other things, you can progress along the story depending on how you configure your next dungeon run, which is great. A lot of people don't know about this particular one, but it's also not like done by one of the big RPG makers. Like if this was done by Square, this would be so fucking, everybody would know about this. All right. But since it wasn't done by Square, it doesn't have a Final Fantasy on the fucking cover, not a lot of people know about it. Which is probably a good thing now that I think about it. But Adventures to Go on the PSP, definitely one to think about if you haven't played it before. All right. Was there any other games that you guys wanted to go ahead and talk about? Go ahead, Theme. We got like 8 minutes left.
Oh boy, had to keep the Capcom thing going.
Woohoo! Yeah. All right.
Now look, as far as a hidden gem, this is one of them.
Especially that version.
Say again?
Especially that version. I said especially that version right there.
This version. Okay. This version came out after even the Dreamcast version came out. Now, the craziest thing about Street Fighter Alpha 3, Street Fighter Zero 3 for the Sega Saturn is that the dramatic battle, you can do that the whole fucking game.
Yeah.
You and somebody else, one of your friends, it'll be two of you against one person throughout the whole fucking game. You can beat up the computer all game long, not just on World Tour. And the World Tour is longer. Freaking the World Tour is better. The boss mode is better. I was just like, okay, yeah, that's the better fucking version. It is. Hands down, the Saturn version was better than the Dreamcast version. Period. That's just the way I see it.
And that's very odd, and quite honestly, because Dreamcast has been for fighting games. Well,
think about it. I used the 4 megabytes of RAM.
No. I'm just saying that era that you're talking about.
Right.
Dreamcast ruled with fighting games. It just.
Oh yeah, it does.
It was just that.
But again, the Saturn version came out after the Dreamcast version.
Yeah, and that's what I was making the point about.
Well, what's funny about that particular version is that it was obviously in the works for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And if Capcom went ahead and were like, "Fuck it, we're just going to put out the Dreamcast version," people wouldn't blame them at all for doing that. All right, but they obviously put in a lot of work on the Saturn version even before they came up to that point where they're like, "Well, we might as well go ahead and put it out." And which, really, as far as it goes, if you're looking for the best version of Street Fighter 3, yeah, the best version is the Sega Saturn version.
Plus, on the dramatic mode, I mean, on the Dreamcast, you can do this as well, but you can do 2 against 1. You can have three buddies, and you can jump one of them. or you can get fucked up by one person. Like if they try to do some things and you're Ryu and you do the super spin kick and you're fucking them both up at the same time and lay them both out. I've done it. I'm like, no, fuck you guys for trying to jump me. You're not beating me that way, all that shit. But 03, man, damn. I was like, wait, it came out for the Saturn? Went up and bought it immediately. And I was like, I will play this one from now on.
Definitely. Great Mouse, you got one more? Go ahead and bring us home. If you got one more.
I'm going to refrain because I really spent about 10 minutes with it. It'll probably be next week. I can't really give any kind of synopsis on it.
All right. Well, in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 30 seconds say, all right, the last one that, really stuck out to me for at least the games that I actually played this week. And yes, I put the cartridge into my fucking system and turned it on.
Yes! 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 People, ladies and gentlemen, buy that game, play that game, enjoy that game. Seriously, if you've never played Super fucking Dodgeball with any fucking S, you must play that shit.
Yeah.
It is a blast. I remember being a friend in elementary school. We played that all fucking night. It was a summer. We were like, damn, we had a whole bunch of Nintendo games, but we played that all night long. We didn't play anything else. We had all the fattening foods in the world, chips, cupcakes, Twinkies, you name it. And we played that game all fucking night and had just fun.
I have lost full weekends to this fucking game.
Yes.
Right? Infamously, I have even lost a girlfriend from middle school to this fucking game. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, all right. And the thing is that it's just one of those things. Or dodgeball, it's one of those games that are just so simple in premise that the way that they executed it just makes it really really fun. To tell you the truth, the best version of this game, the very very best version of this game, all right, is the Game Boy Advance
The
version.
Game
of the
Boy
game.
Advance version
All
is
right.
Yes.
Is awesome. There are so many things that you can do with it, and it still retains the feel and tempo of the original Super Dodgeball from the NES. All right. But yeah, that was the last thing that I spent time with.
Wow.
You know, this is one of those games where it just sit there. I see the label, you know, and every once in a while I'm like, I'm gonna pop this in, see if it's still as fun as I remember it. And lo and behold, it never disappoints. All right,
it's never never a dull game.
Yep. But really, that's the whole reason why we even go ahead and do these segments, folks. Thank you very much for watching this all the way up until this point. But that's pretty much what we've been playing this particular week. What have you been playing this week? We want to know. You tell us by leaving us a comment below. If you really enjoyed this video, we'd appreciate the like. If you didn't enjoy it, honestly, go ahead and mark it as the unlike. Leave us a comment otherwise, whichever way. All right? And if you really like our videos and you want to keep up to date with what we do here as individual channels or everybody together with the middle-aged guys, I do suggest turn on those subscriptions and turn on the notifications, and you'll know whenever we put out a brand new video as either ourselves or with everybody else. All right? With that, all of our bullshit with what the fuck we've been playing this week ends right here. I am the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. Super Dodgeball for the Switch. Do that shit. Yes, please. Please. Credits.
And also Project Justice 3 and Power Stone 3 while you're at it.
Let's not go there. Ah, damn it. Power Stone 3. Rival Schools 3, please.